I, 43F, have been married to my husband, 54M, for several years now. Together, we own a home that has a full basement apartment. When we bought the house, one of the biggest reasons I loved it was because I knew one day it could give my children a soft landing as they entered adulthood. I never wanted to be the kind of parent who expected their kids to turn 18 and immediately figure everything out on their own. The economy is difficult, rent is expensive, and I remember how overwhelming those first few years of adulthood can be. Right now, my two daughters, who are 20 and 18, live in the basement apartment. They each contribute $350 every month toward household expenses. We are not making a profit from them, and honestly, that was never the goal. The goal was to teach them responsibility while still allowing them to save money and slowly build independent lives. The basement itself has been an ongoing remodeling project for years. When I say years, I mean almost 6 years. Every time we think we are close to finishing it, another project comes up or something else in life gets in the way. The long-term plan has always been to eventually finish it completely and rent it out for additional income. Until then, my daughters have been living there. Overall, they have been amazing tenants, if I'm being honest. They are respectful, responsible, and incredibly independent. They don't throw parties. They don't blast music late at night. They don't invite huge groups of friends over every weekend. They don't leave messes around the property. They buy their own groceries, cook their own meals, pay their own bills, clean their own living space, and take care of their own pets. We even divided the backyard so their dogs have their own fenced area while our dogs have ours. It works surprisingly well. Everyone has their own space, and there really hasn't been much conflict over the years. If someone visited our home, they probably wouldn't even realize two adult daughters live downstairs because they have their own entrance and mostly keep to themselves. They live their own lives while still knowing they have family nearby if they need anything. The issue started because of my oldest daughter's boyfriend. He's 20 years old, has a full-time job, and because of the type of work he does, he's often away for long stretches of time. Sometimes he's gone for several weeks, sometimes even longer. When he's in town, he spends a lot of time with my daughter. To be clear, he has not officially moved in. He doesn't receive mail here. He doesn't list our address anywhere. He still has his own home. He still contributes to his own household. He simply stays with my daughter whenever he's back from work because, naturally, they want to spend time together after being apart. From my perspective, that's a fairly normal relationship for two 20-year-olds. My husband, however, sees it very differently. He believes the boyfriend is basically living here. His argument is that even if the boyfriend technically has another address, he's still sleeping here often, enough that he's getting all the benefits of living in our home without contributing financially. He says that if someone is spending multiple nights every week in our house, then they aren't really just a guest anymore. According to him, there should either be a limit, 3 nights a week, or the boyfriend should start paying $350 a month just like our daughters do. His reasoning is simple. This isn't a hotel. We aren't providing free housing for someone else's kid. If he wants to live here, then he needs to contribute. On paper, I understand why he feels that way. After all, this is our home. We pay the mortgage. We pay for utilities. We own the property. He absolutely deserves a voice in what happens under our roof. I'm not arguing that he shouldn't. But emotionally, I struggle with the situation because I see it differently. When I look downstairs, I don't see children breaking rules. I see 2 young adults trying to figure out life. They're working. They're paying toward expenses. They're respectful. They're responsible. They're doing almost everything I hoped they would do when I imagined giving them this opportunity. My oldest daughter isn't asking us to financially support her boyfriend. She's not asking us to feed him. She's not asking us to pay his bills. She's simply spending time with the person she's dating. And because his job regularly takes him away for weeks at a time, I honestly don't know if it's fair to act like he's permanently living here. There are weeks where he's hardly around at all. Then there are weeks where he's here almost every day because he knows he'll soon leave, again for another work assignment. Life isn't always evenly divided into 7-day schedules. Relationships don't always fit neatly into calendar boxes. Another factor that complicates everything is that these are not my husband's biological daughters. He came into their lives later. He wasn't there when they were little. He wasn't the one helping with homework. He wasn't attending parent-teacher conferences. He wasn't making parenting decisions during their childhood. That responsibility always fell on me. I've always been their primary parent, I've always handled discipline, boundaries, guidance, and major life conversations. Because of that history, it feels strange now that they're adults for him to suddenly want to enforce rules that affect their relationships. I'm not saying he has bad intentions. I genuinely believe he thinks he's protecting our home and setting reasonable boundaries. But from my perspective, it sometimes feels like he's stepping into a parenting role that was never really his to begin with. That creates tension for me because I'm caught between respecting my husband as my partner and respecting my daughters as adults. Another thing that makes this difficult is the hypocrisy I can't ignore. Before my husband and I got married, we lived together. We shared a home before making things official. No one charged him rent for sleeping over. No one counted how many nights he stayed. No one told us we had to get married first before living together. So now, years later, it feels unfair to expect our daughters to follow stricter standards than we followed ourselves. Whenever I bring that up, my husband says it's different. He argues that we're talking about our house, not someone else's. He says parents have every right to set boundaries regardless of what choices they made when they were younger. Maybe he's right. Maybe people do change. Maybe becoming homeowners changes how you see these situations. But I still can't shake the feeling that we're sending the wrong message. Instead of encouraging responsible adulthood, it feels like we're telling our daughter that, because she's in a committed relationship, she's suddenly becoming a problem. That's never what I wanted. The entire purpose of letting them live downstairs was to give them stability while they built their futures. If they're already contributing financially, respecting the property, staying out of trouble, and acting responsibly, then why does having a boyfriend over suddenly become the line that can't be crossed? I honestly don't know how many nights he's here. Because they have their own entrance, we rarely even see him. We're not keeping track. We're not watching security cameras. We're not counting cars in the driveway. My husband believes he's here constantly. I suspect it's probably less than he thinks. The truth is somewhere in the middle. I also worry about the long-term consequences of making this into a major issue. If we suddenly tell my daughter her boyfriend is no longer welcome unless he pays rent, will she simply decide to move out entirely? Financially, that might not be the smartest decision for her. Rent in our area is far higher than what she's paying us. Instead of helping her save money and prepare for the future, we'd be pushing her into higher expenses before she's ready. That's exactly what I wanted to avoid. At the same time, I don't want my husband to feel ignored in his own home. His feelings matter too. If he genuinely feels uncomfortable, I don't think it's fair to dismiss him. Marriage is supposed to be about compromise. But I don't know what compromise looks like here. Should we count nights? Should we charge rent? Should we leave things exactly as they are? Should we ask the boyfriend to contribute toward utilities? Should we create clear guest rules that apply equally to both daughters, regardless of who they're dating? Every option seems to upset someone. I keep going back and forth in my head. One moment I think my husband is being perfectly reasonable. The next moment I think he's making a problem where one doesn't really exist. I love my daughters. I love my husband. I understand both perspectives. Exactly why I'm struggling so much. I don't want this to become a fight that permanently damages anyone's relationship. I don't want my daughters to feel pushed away. I don't want my husband to feel disrespected. And I certainly don't want our home, which was supposed to be a place of support and stability, to become a source of resentment. So now I'm left wondering whether I'm being too lenient because I'm their mother, or whether my husband is being too strict because he sees this primarily as an issue of household boundaries rather than family relationships. Am I wrong for believing that responsible adult children deserve some freedom even while living in their parents' home? Or should I be backing my husband? Because regardless of my feelings, this is still our house, our rules, and he believes an important boundary has already been crossed? That's why I'm asking, Eita?